This video is to introduce you a little bit more to the PixelPlane editor in HLS as it stands now on January 25th of 2013. I'm just about getting ready to release it, but I wanted to share some what it looks like, so if there's any comments, I might be able to make some small changes before I release it. I've created a PixelPlane. This is kind of a high-end tree I made. It's made of 50 strings of 50, or maybe it's 64 LEDs or pixels per string. In the Manage Pixel, there's my mega tree. This is what it is. 50 strings, 64 pixels per string. Also, I have in here, now when you're up in here, you tell me the full tree. Some of you may only do a half a tree, a 180, three-quarter tree, a 270. It doesn't matter. Here I need to know that if you were using the number of strings, what would it be for a full tree? And then we'll actually knock some of that subset out for your actual. Down here is when you do text, it really gets annoying having the lights from the backside text showing through. So here you come along and you tell me what channels to hide when there's text. Since I'm 50 strings, I'm hiding string 26 all the way through 50, and that's the back of the tree. That's what I'm hiding. I've also laid down a beat track. Now this isn't a real beat track, but it's a simulation of a beat track. Okay? So I've got music up here, and I've got effects that I've set by using my HLS beat track capability to lay down some beat tracks. The whole key to HLS is to tie everything, even PixelPlane effects, to synchronize them with your music. I've just laid a PixelPlane effect, so let's go here and look at modify it. So we're going to modify this effect. And I wanted to show you where the PixelPlane editing stands as it is now. I'll show you spiral, okay? Let's animate the spiral, and I'll just walk you through some of the aspects of it. Spiral spacing. This means how much of an offset from the tail to the head. So as I increase this, let's kind of speed up the amount of rotation. If you notice, spiral spacing, I can increment it. These are the number of pixels. So as I come around, there's 83. So remember, there was 50 altogether in a circle. So we're doing a little over one complete circle. We can keep wrapping it and wrapping it. So we can actually do multiple revolutions within your tree. That is spiral spacing. Let's pull the spiral spacing back down. Width of the bar. That's how wide this bar is. So we can widen that bar up. Now, bar 1 is using color 1 here. Okay? Now, with color 1, we're going to stop the animation real quick. With color 1, with the dot up here, I'm getting whatever color this is. If I click on this, this is the standard HLS color selection. So I'm getting red. If I click here, now I'm getting a color wheel. And I've asked it to start on red, go clockwise through all of these colors, and end up back here on red. So now I'll show you, just by changing this one selection, let's animate it now. Now we've got red at the top, red at the bottom, and we've got a full color spectrum through the whole ribbon. Okay? Might call this a ribbon instead of a spiral right now. Now, when you're in this mode, you got color shift. This tells me that, see, this is stationary, so I'm always red at the top. When I start applying color shift, it'll start sliding. So now, as you notice, I'm still getting this full spectrum here, but now she slides. So I've got a constantly changing spectrum. Let's show you one more thing. Random color, this overrides. Okay, let's turn the color shift off. Now we're just into this. Let's turn random color on. Now you've got a bar that is just every pixel is a randomly different colored pixel. Let's turn random off. Let's come up here and do number of bars. Let's put in, oh, that's 3 bars. Let's go down to 2 bars. Now, you can change the width of the bars, and it'll change what the whole effect looks like. You can change the spiral spacing, and it'll change the effect. Okay? So you can play with those. If you notice, I have green on a solid color, but I have the other one. Let's speed up the animation here a little bit. But I have this one. This is a changing color palette all the way through. So that's spiral. I think we've covered everything for spiral. So let's turn this off. Let's kind of go back to everything. Oh, I wanted to show you one more thing. What you can do is you can turn sparkle on. Sparkle will take a random, this is a density if you want to think. This says 1 out of every 69 randomly will turn on. If you bring it down here, now you've got a higher. That's 1 of every 14 randomly selected. And all it does is it just turns on one of these pixels full bright for 1. So you kind of get a sparkling effect. You can get a sparkling effect on any of these capabilities. So if we did, let's turn both on. Now if you notice, we got both colors and we've got sparkles going. Okay? So now let's go to vertical bars. There's not much difference in vertical bars. Let's go back and turn them back on regular colors. So take everything back to general. We've got 2 bars moving around. Let's turn off the sparkle. Got the sparkle on. You've got 2 bars moving around. You can change the number of bars. Now we've got 3 bars. As they go across, they pick up each of these color selections. So bar 1, bar 2, and bar 3. Now you can get some crazy effects by changing the width associated with the bars. Okay? For instance, there's 1 bar, but I've got a really big width. It's kind of like an open cone there. If I add 2 bars to it, kind of changes it. Now we got a almost green with some overlapping red. So you can get some different effects just by changing the number of bars and the width of the bars. Let's stop that. We're going to go now to horizontal bars. Horizontal bars. Oh, I forgot to tell you before, there was up here, we could change the direction of the rotation too. Forgot that control. So here, you got the width of the bars. The width of the bar will decide how many bars are present. So as you increase the width of the bars, obviously you're going to get less and less bars. Let's change that and let's kick. Now, these 2 are the bars. You can turn off these bars, which means now if I had 6 bars, it would go red, green, blue, red, green, blue. I've turned these off. But I've kicked these now on just by changing the coloring effect of the bars. You can put in all random, but it just turns all. That's not nice at all. But I can change the effect of, just by changing the bars. And you can throw some sparkle in if you want. So that's, oh, we can do motion down too. Now we've got motion down. So that's horizontal bars. Snow. This is snow density. This is 1 out of every 202. So let's slow the animation down a little bit. What it is, it's a random population of pixels. Kind of getting you the presence of snow. If you don't really want to light up your tree, but you want to just have as a background object as your other effects take place, this is a nice way of affecting your tree. You can put in sparkle too. Now, it's kind of hard to see here on this simulation, but what you have is you have some of these, since they're all random as it is, now you just have some random lights going on. And that is snow. Let's go to meteors now. When you have meteors, you have a length of a tail. This is how long of a tail. I've got 8 pixels now as the length of a tail. This is the meteor density. How many meteors? As I move up here, I'm getting less meteors. 1 in every 144 randomly. Now, as your meteors are falling, you can turn around and you can add a little sparkle to them. Just the head of the meteor will sit there and sparkle on you. This is also a nice background effect, where you're not trying to draw necessarily attention to the tree, but the tree can bring something in with the music. As I'll show you in a minute, all of these can help you be synchronized to your music. So this is called meteors. The next one that's very close to meteors is called fireworks. It is exactly meteors, except, let's get the amount of movement going on. Except, let's shut down on the sparkle. The sparkle effect actually explodes one of the meteors. So when it explodes, it disappears altogether. So you've got a random selection of meteors dropping down, different colors, and you've got a random firework explosion. Again, nice background if you want to use it. That is meteors. Last one for now is text. Let's come over here to line 1. We'll put in Mary. And we'll put Christmas. We'll pick a font. Let's go ahead and pick Arial. We'll use regular Arial. Let's use a 14-point font. Now, where do I want to inject this in my string? Remember, some of you may only have 180 degrees. Text is rotating from right to left in a clockwise. So I want to, based on this, I'm going to inject into position 23 is where I want to inject it. I've got 2 lines. I'm telling me to put 3 dead pixels between the lines. And what I'm saying is when the whole text is complete, I'm going to go dead for 25 pixels before I start replaying the text again. Here's my injection height. You'll see that in a minute. So let's turn sparkle off and let's go ahead and, where's my injection height? Oh, I didn't generate it. How about that? I got to generate the text. Now I've generated it. Now we can go. Oh, let's stop. We've got funny colors on right now. I don't want to show you funny colors yet. Come on. There we go. So the injection height, that's where in the tree, we can move it down, where in the tree it's actually going to come up. And as you can see, it comes across as Merry Christmas. The first line will take its colors from the first line of colors. The second line from the second line of colors. Let's move this up just a little bit. There we go. Now, one of the things you can do is within this, you can add a little sparkle. So as they come along, you can add a little sparkle. Let's turn the sparkle off. Let's turn this off for a minute. Remember, I said when you come down here and select this, this is line 1, this is line 2. This now will give us a full spectrum of the red sweep and green to green sweep. Now when we animate it, now we're going to get a sweep of the, you'll see it when she comes around. Now you're going to get a color sweep of your text. And lastly, let's turn ahead and click on random color. Remember, that's an override. Now you've got it coming out in random color. And you can turn around on top of that and put a little bit of sparkle in. And now you'll get a little bit of white moving on. So that's how you do random color. Now, the last thing I wanted to show you is beat track. So this is nice. We're lining up. We've got several effects, but the whole power of HLS is to synchronize these effects with music. So it's just not a pretty effect that's just laying out there. The idea is to get some sort of synchronization in the music. There's 2 areas of synchronization that I'm working on. One is when you're dealing with a rotating object like this, to have the completion of a rotation or a partial rotation lock in or be in sync with something that you define. We'll call it a beat track. Something that you've defined at an interval within the spectrum of your effect that we can lock those in. The other one is you notice how sparkle can turn around and just add a little bit of sparkle to things here, okay? The other idea is that when you have a beat track or whatever, when you have an event, you can turn on all of the lights. So instead of Merry Christmas and everything being right here, let's say we had a beat effect, everything would turn hard white for 1 or 2 time ticks, and then would go right back to the color. And that would do that in synchronization with the beat of the music. The other thing I'm looking at is I'm going to let you, it's not going to be programmable, but you can come in and say, maybe light up the whole tree in white for 1 split tick mark. By the way, these ticks, this is in sync with the timing that we've set up. I'm using 50 millisecond ticks, so all of these frame counts, all of this timing and everything is directly based to the same timing as my music. So we can turn around and select a beat track here. I've already got a beat track, as I said. And let's go ahead and activate it. Now I've activated my beat track. I can turn around and move this in relation to my beat track. Position it right at the start of my beat track. I can turn around and say, nope, don't want it that long. I'm going to have that effect that long. When you come down here and hit Create, Replace Effect, I will rebuild this whole effect. As you notice, we can lock rotation to the beat track. We can flash pixels at the beat track. This one here is at each of these events, instead of whatever was on the tree in color, would just come on white. Boom, just for a flash. So it would give you a beat effect with the music to try to synchronize your PixelPlane Megatree with your music. That will end this kind of exploration of the HLS PixelPlane editor for now. I hope you enjoy.